嗯嗯。 嗯，
是要离合吗？几何欸？
对，怎么说？
没有花欸。
没有，
啊？
有，
雅库有挖上面吗？挖过来。
应该，
你就过去到你要公共上啊？我什么吗？最好是
那天没有去，
好像这样，我就给二人压几到出现。我只有这条路了。
Service projects.
我甲讲8九就好啊。
哦，
哦，真的有你讲无安尼卖无啊，我是今仔来就讲不做人共款，
对啊，
有啊，我这样，
In this video and the upcoming ones in this series, I'm going to walk you through a variety of AWS projects that will not only give you hands-on experience, but also make you stand out in the competitive world of backend and cloud engineering. But hold on, we are not talking about your typical AWS project here, like hosting a static website or launching EC2 instance. No. Instead, we are diving deep into projects using most wanted AWS services. And trust me, once you showcase those projects on your CV, employer will be knocking on your door. We are encourage you to try out the project, and if you ever hit a rollback, don't worry, we will release videos of us making each AWS project. So subscribe now so you won't miss a thing. Invoice scanner, and we're gonna go and dive in and explain each component and how it works, and you basically can make this project by yourself. So we have the user who making requests to Route 53. Route 53 is the domain registration of AWS cloud services, and we connect it to AWS Amplify. AWS Amplify is basically a service that allows you to host front-end or static website with deployment, auto deployment very easy. And you can connect authorization service like AWS Cognito. It's not a must, but it's a good experience. Once the user making a request to the AWS Amplify, he have the option to do or post or get request to API Gateway. And we're using here API Gateway because we want the option for our serverless architecture to be remodeled, and you can connect and make requests not only from Amplify or for any other backend service that you have or frontend service that you have. So the first request that you can do upload the invoice. You upload the invoice to S3 bucket. This S3 bucket is trigger AWS Lambda function. And the first thing that the AWS Lambda function do is extract text from document using AWS TextTrack. It's an AI model that AWS launched. Next thing, we are using another AWS Lambda that connect to AWS Bedrock, and with that you are extracting the price from all the text you're getting from the invoice document. And once you're doing that, you're doing the last step number 3, you save the invoice in AWS DynamoDB. It's a service that allows you to run table on the cloud or database on the cloud, pay as you go. And the other request that we are supporting, it's get request or get invoice. Once we uploading all the invoices, we have the option to request a specific invoice by ID. Okay, and the get invoice basically trigger AWS Lambda that making request to AWS DynamoDB and giving you the invoice that you need. Very solid architecture. It's not too simple, but it's not too hard, and I think it will give you all the experience you need to say that I have experience with serverless service that AWS allow you. It's covering a lot of the option, and it's pretty cool to build something like that. It's a system as you go, you pay as you go also, and I think it's a pretty neat project to showcase to a future employer. And by the way, guys, we just want to update that we are working on mastering AWS Cloud course. It's like AWS Bootcamp for beginner, where you will learn AWS Cloud by building and deploying scalable web application using 3 different architecture, the most wanted and demanded architecture of AWS. You have the EC2 instance architecture, you have the serverless architecture, and you have the container architecture. This course is designed especially for beginners who want to gain the confidence of AWS hands-on and get hired easily. You can check it now in the YouTube description below. And that's it for now. Let's go back to AWS project number 2, CI/CD pipeline for Node.js app.
Yeah, I'm an AI, but I'm here to talk apps. Real apps you can build in minutes with Base44. This finance app solves your business headaches, tracking invoices, managing clients, keeping payments in check, all in one place. Go to Base44 and write your prompt, what your app should do, how it should look, and the problems it should solve. Base starts generating your app right in front of you. Invoice list, client profiles, payment tracking. It's like watching a team of developers, designers, and a business coach bring your idea to life. Now let's make it even better by adding features that fit exactly how you work. I'll add scan receipts, digitize them, and add to expenses. Now I can snap a photo and it's logged instantly, no more manual expense entry. Finally, let's add an expenses prediction dashboard that forecasts monthly and yearly costs. Now you've got an app tailored to your business needs, built around the way you work. Start with your idea. Base 44 does the rest.
So this project is more for people who want to start their work on becoming a DevOps engineer, and also backend developer who want to show that they are more than just a developer. So CI/CD pipeline for Node.js app, it's one of the things that's crucial for sustaining and production application, or even staging or dev or local. You need to understand how the code that you program, commit, actually finding its way to the server. And if you don't know how to launch Node.js server on AWS, I created a YouTube video, one of my popular video. You can go and watch it on YouTube. But let's go back to the project. So what we want to build, what we want to design is a CI/CD pipeline that using all AWS relevant service. So once you push, the developer push a code using his computer and push it to code commit, this code commit making an auto trigger a code build, and this code build, instead of starting automatic deploy, you need to do manual approval through SNS service, simple notification service, and once you approve it manually, it will start automatic deploy to code deploy, and code deploy will deploy the code to your Node.js server using the code pipeline service that AWS provide to. This project is especially for beginners that start their way and want to extend their knowledge on the DevOps space. Okay, let's go to project number 3, big data project for querying COVID-19 data. So this is for more backend developer, or also more for BI developer, business intelligence, who want to query big data using AWS Athena, AWS Glue. So you have the option to build a very nice architecture. It's a little bit simple, but still it's require you to work using Kaggle as a data source. And Kaggle is a website that have a lot of data source for machine learning research and everything that's related to BI, to analytic. You can use Kaggle as a source to download dataset or database. Once you download this database of COVID-19 data, you upload it to S3 bucket, and the S3 bucket will contain, I think the dataset is like 4 GB or something like that. Then you connect AWS Glue. AWS Glue, it's an event-driven engine that allow you to play, modify, update the data that you have on your S3 bucket. But in order to go one step ahead, you need to connect AWS Athena, and this is where you're actually using a simple SQL query with AWS Athena in order to query your data that have inside the AWS Glue engine. Very cool project. I think for people working with big data or data analysts, they want to extend their knowledge, or also backend and DevOps that want to build something for their colleague. This is how they can start to have the experience of using a big data project for querying COVID-19 data. And as I said at the beginning, if you have any rollback or it's very hard for you to do those projects, we're gonna do a video about every project that we're presenting here today. So this is AWS Athena Big Data project for querying COVID-19 data. And let's go next to our number 4, 3-tier web app with auto-scaling. So this is one of the basic beginner AWS project that you can start, but I gave it a little nudge. I make it a little bit harder, but still it's something that is very basic, especially for beginner. You need to know how to build a 3-tier web app with auto-scaling, okay? The user is making request to Route 53. Route 53 is connect to Elastic Load Balancer. Elastic Load Balancer have a 2 server in this case, but you have auto-scaling EC2 instance in different availability zones, zone number 1, zone number 2. And those EC2 server connect to a RDS, or it can be any other database that AWS offer. I did RDS because the most familiar one, and this RDS can be multi availability zone, it can be standby, or it also can be a RDS replica of the primary database. This is like one of the basic architecture or AWS project that you need to control, because this is like the basic of AWS. This is how it starts, with EC2, database, and VPC, everything connect under the same network. Very important to control this and to have the knowledge of how to make it work. This is a 3-tier web app with auto scaling. If you have any question, please leave a comment and I will do my best in order to help you to do this project. Also, it's the basic. You need to know how to do that basically. And let's go next to project number 5, Infrastructure as a Code, or IAC, of a 3-tier web app. So basically we take in the same architecture that we just went over, the 3-tier web app with auto scaling, but now we're not doing it manually from the AWS console. No, we're doing it through something that's called CloudFormation or Infrastructure as a Code. So basically you can use CloudFormation, or you can use Terraform or any tool available today in order to actually writing your resource. So this is the next step of DevOps and backend development or cloud engineering, that you actually can run and write a template, eventually upload it to a CloudFormation stack, and this stack starts automatically the cloud formation development of the stack. And once the template itself is uploaded and the CloudFormation make it magic, it's actually building this resource, everything by code, without you doing anything in the console in order to launch all of those services. So this is very important step for people who want to extend their cloud engineering space and basically have the knowledge and experience of how to use infrastructure as a code. This is also a must project for backend engineer that want to go next step to become DevOps. And what is so special about using infrastructure as a code, that once you have the template, you can create any environment that you want. You can use the same template and create or launch a production environment, and then you can create the same resource to make a staging environment. And this is an example of how the infrastructure as a code look. It can be JSON or YAML file, and basically you are coding your resource in AWS, make it as a template, and once you need to use it, you just use an engine like CloudFormation or Terraform. But because we're talking about AWS, I'm gonna go to the CloudFormation service, and it will know how to read this template and eventually launch the 3-tier web app with auto-scaling resource or services that you just wrote it. It's an amazing feature, very important to know to make it work. And again, we're gonna make a video about this too. So if you're feeling that you have a rollback or you don't know how to start, just subscribe and you get notification when this video is ready for you.
Introducing Grammarly, like you've never seen before, your all-in-one writing essential. Today, we're checking out Proofreader, a gem of...
Okay guys, let's go to our last AWS project, train and deploy SageMaker AI Fair Mode model. So this is for developer or DevOps engineer who want to join the AI trend. And this is, if you don't know, AWS have their own sector of AI. They have models that they already created, and they have the SageMaker that help them to create all the models that they need. So this specific model, Fair Mode, it allow you or help you to detect object from a picture or from a video, from frame. And what you can do, basically, you can train this model in order to detect specific object that you want. And let's go over and see how this architecture works, how you can train and deploy your own Amazon SageMaker model. So you're gonna initialize SageMaker, and then you're gonna have a stage dataset. You need to have a dataset that you're gonna upload to Amazon S3. Once you upload the stage to Amazon S3, you're gonna build and push the training to a container image. This container image will get trained with the model of the Fair Mode, and once it's ready, it will launch a training job, and you can tune all the hyper parameters to make it more tuned or custom to your need. And once it's done, you're gonna have the model in AWS S3 bucket, and this is basically the training process. And once you finish with the training process, you have the option to actually deploy your AWS SageMaker model. So again, you need to initialize SageMaker, and then you build and push the interface container image that you just push to S3. It will create Amazon ECR, a real-time interface image. You're gonna create an interface endpoint using the Fairmont model on S3. Then you're gonna test the endpoint, or you're gonna use it in production as ever you want, and that's it basically. This is how you train and deploy SageMaker Fairmont model. This is the architecture, and again guys, I really recommend you to try. And if you have rollback, we're gonna create videos that show you how to do step by step. So let's go over all the projects that we just shared. We have the serverless invoice scanner, we have the CI/CD pipeline for Node.js app. Number 3 is AWS Athena, big data project for querying COVID-19 data. Then number 4, Twitter web app with auto-scaling. And number 5, infrastructure as a code with Twitter web app. And the last one that just went over, train and deploy SageMaker Fairmont model. I know that those architecture, those AWS projects are not simple, but I really recommend you to start and explore. And you can also go to my YouTube channel. I have a lot of videos that cover a lot of the architecture that you already saw in this video. And that's it for today, guys. Okay guys, thank you so much for watching, and follow to the rest of the video. Please like, subscribe, and leave comment below, and keep following, because I'm gonna release more and more amazing videos about AI, about AWS, about DevOps, about a lot of interesting stuff. Thank you so much.
Alright, so it's been exactly 5 years since I started my journey in the cloud, and knowing everything I know now, I do things very differently. AI has completely transformed the way we learn. The entire learning timeline from zero to mastery is becoming more and more compressed. In fact, if you're not using tools like ChatGPT every time you study, you're already falling behind. And so in this video, I'll be walking you through how exactly to learn AWS in 2026, the roadmap I follow, and what resources I use if I were to start from zero. By the way, make sure you watch until the end, because I'll be announcing a live training program starting January 10th, where I'll be personally teaching you AWS. The link to register is in the description below. Okay, let's get into it. So first of all, what's actually changed since the last 5 years? Well, let me start off by telling you my story. My cloud learning journey began at the end of 2020, where I achieved 4 AWS certifications in 5 months. In 2021, I landed my job at AWS as a solutions architect. And by 2023, I left AWS to make YouTube videos and mentor students full-time. Fast forward to this year, I officially launched my learning platform Zero to Cloud, where I help beginners learn AWS. But here's the thing, if I was starting over today, I wouldn't follow the same path. Not even close. I spent over 500 hours studying for AWS certifications. I would watch hours of video lessons, write notes, and then read them over and over again. Because at the time, that's what everyone was doing. Every blog post and every YouTube video out there was telling me that if I want to learn AWS and get hired, I had to study for certifications. It was the only way. However, this approach is completely off, especially for 2026. AWS is a cloud platform. It's not a dictionary, it's not a bunch of theoretical concepts. And so the best way to learn it is by building hands-on projects, not by memorizing service definitions or by watching someone else click through the console. Employers these days also care more about your projects than the certifications you have on your resume, because they also know that certifications at the end of the day are just multiple choice quizzes. And so here are the steps I'd follow to master AWS. First, I'd learn the theory. Next, I'd build real-world projects. After that, I'll fill my knowledge gaps through practice. And finally, I document and showcase my work. Step number 5 is pretty much repeating the cycle over and over again. And these set of steps make up the overarching theme for my 2026 cloud learning roadmap. Learn, build, practice, document, repeat. Now, with the rise of useful AI tools like ChatGPT and Claude, it's never been easier to speed through these steps. You can build real knowledge and confidence in a matter of weeks. And so, with all that being said, let's get into the roadmap. The first step is to learn the theory. Start by getting a basic knowledge of cloud and AWS. There's a whole bunch of free videos on YouTube and online lectures you can check out. My recommendation is to use AWS Skill Builder, which is a free learning platform created by AWS themselves. Now, instead of writing notes to remember everything, use something like ChatGPT as your personal AWS tutor and accountability coach. Every time you don't understand a concept clearly, you can ask it to explain it to you in simple terms. For example, if you want to know the difference between Amazon EC2 and AWS Lambda, you can just ask it for a comparison table of the two. You can also use AI to break down complex topics, give you analogies, and even create practice quizzes to assess your knowledge. Learners who can figure out how to properly use AI as their study companion are going to surpass everyone else. Because at the end of the day, our time to learn is limited. Learning faster will give us more time to go deeper on certain concepts and actually apply them. Companies want what they call T-shaped people. If you haven't heard of this term before, you can think of it like this. The horizontal part of the T is broad cloud knowledge, and the vertical part is a deep expertise in one specific area. For example, security, AI infrastructure, or analytics. That's why you should understand the core cloud concepts and AWS services as soon as you can, so that you can start going deeper. And don't worry about over-relying on AI tools. The future of tech careers will be heavily AI-driven. When I worked at AWS, we'd spend hours on meetings answering basic questions from our clients. Nowadays, solutions architects and even clients themselves are encouraged to use AI tools like Amazon Q to resolve simple queries. Knowing how to prompt AI effectively is also a skill in itself. So I'd highly encourage you to use generative AI to fast-track your learning. But overall, my view from an employment perspective is that cloud certifications are pretty useless these days. A few years ago, you could land a cloud job simply by having 2 to 3 certifications. But if you're new to AWS, I'd still use certifications as a way to map out a structured learning pathway. Certifications like the AWS Cloud Practitioner and Solutions Architect Associate help you understand the fundamentals. You don't necessarily have to sit the exam to show that you have the knowledge. So if you have the money for it, I'd recommend giving the exams a shot. But if you don't have the budget to get certified, you can still learn the content that the certifications cover for free using something like AWS Skill Builder. The key is to understand the basics and then move on to the stage where you're actually building, because the actual badge matters a lot less compared to previous years. Okay, now you might be wondering, if certifications are becoming less important, what matters more now? Which brings us to step number 2, which is to build real projects. Every hiring manager I've spoke to recently has shared with me their struggle of finding strong candidates. Not candidates with 5 cloud certifications, but candidates who have real hands-on experience. Now, hands-on experience doesn't have to mean previous internships or jobs. It's any relevant experience where you build real-world projects in the cloud. For example, a web app using AWS Amplify or an AI automation tool using Amazon SageMaker. When you build projects, you start to naturally understand how AWS services connect. You'll also begin to build an intuition on which set of services to use in which scenario, which is something that no amount of memorizing can teach you. Now, if you're not too sure what projects to build or you want step-by-step guidance, I'd highly recommend checking out my learning platform, Zero to Cloud. I have a whole bunch of project guidebooks ranging from beginner to advanced. I also have role-specific projects to help you become a solutions architect, cloud support engineer, cloud security engineer, and more. If you get stuck at any step, each of my project courses also comes with a dedicated Slack community where we'll help you troubleshoot and debug all the way until you've successfully built everything. In my opinion, my projects on Zero to Cloud are the best in the market because they cover a wide range of real-world scenarios that will help you build a strong foundation. I'll leave a link to it in the description below if you want to check it out for yourself. Okay, at this point, I have to warn you about something. Learning cloud isn't going to feel like a straight path. Just like with anything new, some days you're going to feel unmotivated. It's also impossible to master every single concept. And that's completely fine because step number 3 is about identifying your knowledge gaps and filling them in through practice. Once you've learnt the fundamentals of cloud and built a few projects, you're going to realize that there's certain topics that you need to dive deeper in. For example, when learning cloud, you'll come across containers, Docker, security, databases, and so many other concepts. You might also want to learn a programming language like Python. Once you fit in those gaps, that's when your knowledge of the cloud will get to the next level. You'll no longer just be able to build applications within AWS. You'll understand how everything fits in together. And so what I recommend doing is to continually upskill. Make sure you have the mindset of someone who's curious and eager to learn. If you come across a topic you're not too sure about, write it down and make sure you cover it later on. It could even be something simple like signing up for a Docker account and trying out a few tutorials. Okay, step number 4 is something that learners often overlook, and that is to document and show your work. Once you've built your projects, the next step is to make your work visible. Start by documenting everything on GitHub, LinkedIn, or Medium. These platforms are great for showcasing what you've built, explaining your thought process, and reflecting on what you've learned. Building a personal brand can also open a lot of opportunities, from job offers to freelance work and collaborations. And that's because when people see you share your cloud journey online, it builds trust and familiarity. Over time, you'll naturally start attracting recruiters, hiring managers, and others who are interested in working with you. For example, even when I was still working at AWS, I pretty much consistently posted on LinkedIn every single month, and that led to my job opportunity with Google Cloud, which, by the way, I ended up turning down to do YouTube full-time. Now, if you're serious about starting your cloud journey, I have an exciting announcement to make. I've just launched Zero to Cloud Accelerator, which is a 90-day live training program for you to learn AWS from scratch. It starts on January 10, 2026, and I'll be personally teaching 100 students. You'll learn cloud, build real-world projects, and join a community of like-minded learners. I'll also show you how to optimize your resume and build your cloud portfolio. If you'd like more info about the program, I've left a link to it in the description below. There's about 50 spots remaining, so if you're interested in joining, make sure to sign up early. Okay, let's now talk about what roles in the cloud are currently in demand, and hopefully that will give you some motivation to learn AWS. The roles with the fastest growth at the moment are cloud security engineers, cloud AI engineers, and specialized solutions architects. These roles come with strong pay incentives, with salaries well above other tech roles. And before we wrap up, let me address one big mistake cloud learners make. I see so many people trying to learn AWS, Azure, and Google Cloud all at the same time. That's like trying to learn French, German, and Spanish simultaneously. You'll likely end up with a surface level knowledge of all three instead of a deep knowledge in one. And so my advice is to master one cloud first. Once you get really good at AWS, for example, it becomes much easier to pick up the knowledge of other clouds because the fundamental concepts are all the same. And there you have it, how I would learn AWS Cloud in 2026 if I were to start over. If you're serious about learning cloud and building projects, make sure you check out my courses on Zero to Cloud to get started. Okay, this brings us to the end of this video. Please leave a comment down below if you're learning cloud this year, and I'll see you in the next one. Alright, bye for now.
Learn from world-class Udemy instructors like Chris.
Excel is a magician's hat that pulls out solutions to problems you never thought possible. As a former beta tester wizard for Microsoft, I've created more spreadsheets than stars in the sky. Come with me on a journey that will blow your mind. We're going back to a time when accounting was done with, well, sand.
Do we have your attention? Good. Get started at udemy.com.
嗯嗯嗯嗯，哦，了解，了解，這是我嘅房間。嗯嗯嗯嗯，為咩啊？我知啊。嗯嗯，叔休困，叔啊，嗯嗯嗯嗯。
牙齿敏感以及牙龈的问题，还有珐琅质流失，互相都有关联。全新舒酸定专业抗敏护龈强化珐琅质牙膏，帮助舒缓牙齿敏感，改善牙龈健康，强化珐琅质，由内而外重建抗敏保护力。
Now, for my video calls and streaming, I usually use a mirrorless camera setup that comes in around $1,000. Now, that image is great, but it's a lot of gear and cost for video calls or live streaming. Now, these little guys come in under $200 and claim to deliver 4K video, AI tracking, and pro audio, and they both fit in the palm of your hand. So the real question is, can a $200 AI webcam actually compete with or even outperform my $1,000 mirrorless setup? Well, let's take a look. Hey there, neighbors. I'm Ryan the Tech Guy, and welcome back to This Smart House, your destination for the coolest smart gear and automations. So in today's video, we're going to be looking at not just one, but two webcams from Insta360. You know the company that's known for its 360 cameras and now even a drone. But today we're going to be taking a look at the Link 2 and its little brother, the 2C. Both promise pro-level 4K video, smart AI features, and even advanced audio. So the big question is, can the quality and features make me want to switch away from my over-the-top mirrorless setup? Oh, and by the way, all the shots of me in the video are being captured on the Link 2. Yes, I have two of them. Now, both these cameras are available for under $200. So let's see what they can actually do. Now, both the
I'm just sad.
2周之后要训够完，这里的之后用英语怎么说 ？After, later， 其实都不太对。我发现很多同学在这里都会说错。那 after 和 later 到底怎么区分？而在这种表示从现在开始再过多久的之后，母语者又是怎么说的呢？我用1分钟给你讲清楚。先来看 after 表示某件事之后，也就是说它指的是事件的之后，不是时间间隔的之后。比如 After work, I'm going to the gym. After the summer, I'm starting a new job.
Okay, you see me after class.
So I go to work, and then after work, sometimes I go have a beer.
You want to stop by after work?
And then also, I have a big surprise for you after dinner.
What?
After 后面接的是事情 work, the summer, dinner, class 表示那件事结束以后再发生下一件事。再来看 later 也表示之后，但它不是一个确切的时间，而是一个模糊的稍后，过一会儿。比如 I'm going to the gym later， 这里的 later 没有说明多久以后，这是一个大概的稍后。再比如 I'll call you later.
So I'll talk to you later, okay?
Should I come back later?
Maybe I'll do it later.
I'm having a dinner party later tonight around 7. And
What are you doing later?
I'll call you later.
那当你要说具体多久之后的时候，到底要用什么词才对呢？这种情况下，母语者会用 in 加时间段。I'm going to the UK in 2 weeks， 意思是从现在开始算2周之后。The meeting starts in 10 minutes. I have to leave in an hour.
See you in a month.
My parents will be here in 10 minutes.
I'll call you back in 2 hours.
the show is in 2 weeks. The Olympics are in 3 months.
The wedding's in 4 hours. I'm going to London in like 3 hours.
所以下次想说2周之后别犹豫。
大家好，我是老坦。这集尽职设计还挺有说法啊，各方人物的眼神小动作也很细节。那道友觉得本集如何呢？解析有详有略啊，直观细节不会复述，全是过度解读不可当真。记得在弹幕多多交流。野外众人抵达副本外围，注意盾光细节。上集游道友是第3个走的，韩立是最后遁走的，此刻却与游道友并肩。老游的速度着实慢啊。不仅如此，在172集，游和丙道友同时盾光，他的施法速度也比丙慢了许多。制作组用2次盾光速度来铺垫游的实力不足，不是过度解读啊，还有一处伏笔，稍后说。接着注意王天谷，原本他比韩立先走，却刻意放慢速度飞在最后。此时丙道友飞在王天谷前面，而当韩立落地的刹那，王天谷就瞬间加速超过了丙道友，属于是很怕被偷袭了。随后游丙站在一块儿，南冷侯说话时，2人还偷摸对视，他们是一伙了。王天谷3人是一伙，台夫人看似独立，但在游道友转身催促时，他也同时转身给南冷侯压力。下集 PV 也 明示众人结成了联盟，唯独韩立是真正的孤立。而令人细思极恐的是云道友，在南冷红发言时，王天谷斜眼看他，而不是扭头。扭头和斜眼在心理学角度有很大差异。扭头大多在传递倾听、尊重的信号，而头不动的斜眼显然是有敌意、轻蔑的意味。但云道友竟然也是凝重的斜眼表情，接着眼神一低，眉头一皱，像是在思考什么。他会对南冷侯露出这种略微不爽的表情，多少有些怪异啊。接着南冷侯提到先锋宝物，首先注意台词，
重申一遍咱们此番商定的规则。进去之后，无论有何宝物，我和云道友要先挑一件。
这说明先锋宝物的规则是之前就商定好的，不是临时定下的规则。可在南冷侯说完话后，这些原因出席无一例外全都皱眉不满。南云除了是先发现仓坤的人外，也有原因中期的底气，先选宝物很合理啊。如果众人对规则不满，那早就翻脸了，而不是等飞到副本前才不满。这说明众人的不满不是针对规则，而是针对南冷侯这个人。但结合下集 PV 众人翻脸，他们在副本出发前一定发生了什么，而这一切韩立都不知晓。看这句话，
这地灵气稀薄，又无明显标记，若非南陇侯领路，还真是很难寻到。
韩立的意思是，没有南陇侯就不可能来仓坤，他肯定了南陇侯的作用，注意到了众人皱眉不满的神情。随后开山旗装饰和南陇侯头部装饰一样，阵法形式也和南陇侯在甜甜城施展的禁制相同。禁制外围类似商周青铜器纹路，内部则是八卦阵法，但核心形状源自佛教的金彩轮，所以上方文字才会是对应佛门设定的梵语。而轮中心向外辐射8条梁，圆心和梁均嵌宝石，与南陇侯的全身宝石装扮也是对应的。在后续进入阵内时，地表阵法外围是佛教莲花设计，内围是卦象加星宿，分别是坤卦、离卦、震卦。震离坤有各自的星象运行路径，所以左右以星宿图案连接。而星宿也呼应了南陇侯衣服上的星图。综上所述，南陇侯与仓坤的渊源颇深制作组细的不谈。而开山旗释放大量阵法文字包裹山峰，以文字为刀割开高山，这想象力确实有说法大家觉得符合你心中的预想吗？随后王禅忍不住惊讶，然后看向韩立，他就像个小孩看到了奇观忍不住惊讶，但又怕自己太震惊让韩立看低了，所以连忙克制表情偷看韩立，看他有没有发现自己的窘境。
看来取宝之前是没机会下手了。
这句话对应细节在172集，当初韩立飞行时快时慢，始终保持在王天谷附近，就是在寻找偷袭机会。可惜王天谷也是老油条，果断降低顿速，飞到队伍最后，让韩立的偷袭计划落空。那随后注意开山后的众人行为，王天谷看向韩立，台夫人看向南云二人，游道友更是有个扭头看南云的动作。台油饼也怕南云趁着开山动静对他们不利，选择紧盯二人以防不测。只有王禅和燕如烟被开山奇观所吸引。这个细节仅持续一帧下个画面众人就恢复正常，装作无事发生了。但在进入副本后，众人站位依然对南老侯有防备，只能说原因是真有100个心眼。随后禁制关闭，有道友先前被草原追杀的有些敏感肌，但他如此沉不住气的拿出法宝防御，也依然暗示他实力较弱，没有底气，与之前遁光速度慢相呼应。注意他的法宝是龙吃剑，对应他的红龙遁术还有4龙的面相。在二人启动禁制后有个比较乐的细节，所有原因都没看下方阵法，而是抬头看南云，防止他们高打低偷袭。王天谷甚至环绕四周查探环境，防止有诈。就连燕如烟也看向二人，警戒心拉满。只有王禅平视的看向韩立，不是你这太妙神境的设计有点像万花筒，8个物件组成一组，越往里连接就越紧密，形状也从8个门到8面墙，中心处是叠加起来的中式建筑，再往里则为8面窗户、8面隔断、8面房檐，最终是2条首尾相连的神龙。这致敬了我国古代的衔尾龙玉器，首尾呼应形成圆环，意为永恒、循环、无限，就像这永不停歇的太妙阵法。
宝物的优先挑选权是不是也该有老身一份？
注意南陇侯看了眼云道友，当云点头后，南陇侯这才答应。不仅如此，在刚到苍坤山峰时，入山也是云道友开口。
走吧，下面就是那太庙神境了，都小心些。
南陇侯在这里似乎以云道友的意见为主啊，而这个细节也对应了原著。最后台夫人的雷火锥是字面意思，上方为火，下方为雷，外形类似佛教金刚杵，中部还能看到佛教莲花。3个头像是护法明王、普拔金刚，象征降服烦恼与障碍，用来破除禁制，自是适合不过。制作组还埋了一个细节，在雷火锥破除第1层阵法时，阵法护盾没有任何图案，但在锥子即将戳第2层阵法时，太庙阵法就浮现了佛教莲花护盾。这说明太庙神境或许能根据破禁者的招式生成与之对应的防御手段。你雷火锥是佛门法宝，那我就用佛门至宝莲花打你。在雷火锥破了白色莲花后，金色莲花紧随其后，瞬间就将法宝限制。这是因为白色莲花在佛门代表的是修炼的初心，而金色莲花是白莲之后的终极形态，是圆满觉悟的佛陀象征。克制金刚杵自然没问题啊，这不得为制作组打一个戏啊！随后雷火锥爆裂，太庙神境幻化的磁性还想抓台夫人，这阵法着实厉害。话说禀道友牙是不是刷少了？注意众人神识，韩立的尾端是最粗的，谁强谁弱不用多说。此时韩立明清陵墓察觉不对，上前唤出16柄阵旗，并用灵力凝聚出2个阵盘破阵。太庙多宝万华阵，太庙指太极宇宙本源，在佛教法华经中也有多宝如来的说法，万华自然指阵法的多样无穷变化。随后我们细看韩立破阵，他先是将阵法一层一层的施加在太庙阵法的边缘，就像一个限制器来控制每层建筑的转动方向。在韩立的操控下，静止不动的中间区域开始跟随八门移动，随后底层的八门也在韩立的操控下变为倒转。中医中太庙神境有自己的循环逻辑，韩立的阵法就是更改太庙阵法的旋转方向，从而找到正确的路径来破门。随后韩立灵力浮现，暗示太庙已被韩立破解。韩立高飞有2个原因啊，第一是他很清楚众人心怀鬼胎，俯视众人彰显一波，也是让众人对他产生忌惮。第二高飞则是在吸引众人注意力，结合太庙神境已被韩立掌控一部分的细节，大家可以猜测下韩立的用意。至于将盾光护至身前，我就不说了。随后云道友很谨慎，没有手拿画卷，而是当众开启，有陷阱大家一起担是吧？注意，南陇侯本想拿画卷，手都抬起来了，但是被王天谷给打断了。
应该是有什么用意，有点古怪。
能发现啊，本集用了几处小细节来体现南陇侯如今的地位不稳。在众人入内后，中心是一尊巨大的佛教金刚杵，而背景墙壁的纹路依然是商周饕餮纹。凡设计师很喜欢这个元素啊。随后其他人都在四处张望，毕竟摆在明面上的东西肯定不是最好的，只有尤道友惊讶古堡，依然对应老尤底气不足的设定啊。当然，除了王禅，这家伙法宝不看，周围也不观察，主打一个偷看韩立背影。燕如烟传音是有原因的，在破镜之前，南云提到
只需等待3日之后。
此话一出，王禅吓得看向老婆，因为3日变数太多，很容易给韩立抓到偷袭的机会。而且王禅太暴躁了，万一惹韩立动怒，把他们杀了咋办？所以在本集王禅嘲讽韩立时，燕如烟翻了个白眼。在韩立破阵成功后，王禅不爽，燕如烟又鄙视地看了眼小王。
但此人刚才确实是破除了禁制，
需要他逞威风吗？
注意燕如烟这个双眼瞪大的表情啊！愤怒快止不住了，心里不知道咋骂小王呢。为了避免王禅惹怒韩立导致被击杀，燕如烟这才试图缓解双方关系，但他也有自己的心思。
自身神魂受制，对外界浑然不觉，否则妾身纵使死，也绝不会同意他们所为。
意思是结婚一事不是我做主啊，我和鬼灵门不是一条心啊。下集 PV， 众人终于要翻脸开打。按照这个进度，176仓空副本就结束了，大家觉得如何啊？话说仓空2楼有大量的神佛像，但中心处却是一尊妖神，这之中又埋藏了什么伏笔呢？那最后啊，从这集的很多文化元素来看，制作组很喜欢暗中致敬。这里我说个过度解读啊，莲花刻宝，特别是限制宝物，会不会是致敬《西游记》中观音用莲花隔绝8界兵器的剧情？是柔能克刚的具象化。而借韩立之口提到的太庙多宝万华阵，会不会在致敬《封神演义》中多宝道人所设的盘古开天地以来第一杀阵诛仙阵？好了，不扯了，觉得解析不错，可以3连支持一波，希望大家点个关注，助力我突破200万粉修为。我是老坦，我们下期视频不见不散。